Broadcasting communication. Broadcasting refers to a method of transferring a message to all recipients simultaneously. For example, this brings to mind our radio broadcast, whereby one person talks to thousands of people, sometimes millions of people, living in their homes, at their workplaces, and so many other places at the same time. Broadcasting is the distribution of audio and video content to a dispersed audience via any electronic mass communications medium, but typically one using radio waves called electromagnetic spectrum in a one-to-many model. When it says one-to-many, it means from one source to many audience. Broadcasting began with AM radio broadcasting, AM standing for amplitude modulation, which sprang up spontaneously around 1920. Before this, all forms of electronic communication, radio, telephone, and telegraph were one-to-one, that is, one audience, one person, or one communicator, one receiver, with a message intended for just a single recipient. But then things have changed. Today we have so many methods of broadcasting. The earliest broadcasting consisted of just sending telegraph signals over the airwaves using Morse code. Morse code is a whole lot of very hard code using dots and dash. But today, audio broadcasting, which has begun since the first decade of the 20th century, has increased. By the early 1920s, radio broadcasting became a household medium, at first on the AM band and later on FM. FM stands for frequency modulation. Remember I said AM stands for amplitude modulation. As time goes on, we'll understand what this means. Television broadcasting started experimentally in the 1920s also and became widespread after World War II using VHF and UHF spectrum. Now VHF stands for very high frequency and UHF stands for ultra high frequency, that is higher than very high. Satellite broadcasting was initiated in the 1960s and moved into general industry usage in the 1970s with direct broadcast satellites, also known as DBS, emerging in the 1980s. As you can see right here on the screen, these are satellite dishes connecting to geosatellites. Telecommunications, also called telecommunication, is the exchange of information over significant distances by electronic means. That is, from here to America, to India, to anywhere, yet we exchange information. A complete single telecommunications circuit consists of two stations, each equipped with the transmitter and the receiver. Remember, unlike the broadcast, there is one transmitter and many receivers. Right now, we are having one transmitter, one receiver, yet it is now both ways. That is, a transmitter is also a transmitter and a receiver is also a receiver and a transmitter. That is why the transmitter and receiver is now combined into a single device called a transceiver. Trans from transmitter, ceiver from receiver. The medium of single transmission can be electrical wire or cable. It's also known as copper because it's most times made of copper cables. Optical fiber or electromagnetic fields. There's free space transmission and reception of data by means of electromagnetic fields is called wireless. Now, let us understand this. For example, in your phones you have Bluetooth. That is, you can connect to someone else's phone, maybe send media or receive media, even without your phones touching each other, not to talk about being connected by wire. That is called wireless. We now want to look at some types of telecommunication systems. First of all, we will talk about circuit switching. Circuit switching is a methodology of implementing a telecommunications network in which two network nodes establish a dedicated communications channel, that is a circuit, though the network before the nodes may communicate. The circuit guarantees the full bandwidth of the channel and remains connected for the duration of the communication season. The circuit functions as if the nodes were physically connected as with an electrical circuit. Let's talk about some acronyms we mentioned in the last class. Do you remember PSTN? Well, PSTN stands for Public Switch Telephone Network. This is the aggregate of the world's circuit switch telephone networks that are operated by national, regional, or local telephony operators, providing infrastructure and services for public telecommunication, thus allowing any telephone in the world to communicate with another. We also have CSPT. Circuit Switched Packet Telephone, CSPT. This involves packet switch networks, which move data in separate small blocks called packets, based on the destination address in each packet. Let's understand this. Supposing your data was just a small file or a paper. Now, the Circuit Switched Packet Telephone, instead of just transferring one paper at a time, takes a block of papers, let's say now a carton of paper, and sends it at once. For example, when you make your call, each word you say can be said to be data. But then the packet of words, there be a whole sentence or your whole call, and that is transferred at once through your telephone. When received, packets are reassembled in the proper sequence to make up the message. Circuit switch networks require dedicated point-to-point connections during calls. Let's also talk about satellite telephone system. A satellite telephone, also called a satellite phone or sat phone, is a type of mobile phone that connects to orbiting satellites instead of terrestrial cell sites. Now, instead of connecting to the MTN or Globe mast, it connects to orbiting satellites up there in the sky. They provide similar functionality to your normal telephones, which is terrestrially based, that is, based on normal masts here on Earth. They include voice, SMS, and low bandwidth internet access. GSM is a common term today, and it stands for Global System for Mobile Communication. Global System for Mobile Communication. This is a digital mobile telephony system that is widely used in all around the world, starting with Europe and every other part of the world. GSM uses a variation of time division, multiple access, called TDMA, and is the most widely used of the three digital wireless telephony technologies. We're talking about TDMA, GSM, and CDMA. GSM digitizes and compresses data, then senses down a channel with two other streams of user data, each in its own time slot. It operates as either the 900 MHz or 1800 MHz frequency band. Notice that MHz is called megahertz. MHz, megahertz. Fixed wireless telephone system. A fixed wireless refers to wireless devices or systems that are situated in fixed locations, such as an office or home, as opposed to devices that are mobile, such as cell phones and PDAs. Now let's get this straight. Your phone is not fixed wireless. Even though it is wireless, you can go always with your phone to your house, to your office, to school, to the market, and back home. But the fixed wireless works only in a fixed location. Fixed wireless devices normally derive their electrical power from utility mains, as opposed to portable wireless devices that normally derive the power from batteries. Now your phone uses a battery, the power comes from the battery. But imagine that you plug your phone to use it always. That is, you plug your phone to electricity always before you use it. That means you cannot go out with your phone everywhere, unless you are carrying a mobile electrical circuit.